This is the Domain Magnet Show, where you'll learn everything you need to know about buying, optimizing, and selling online businesses with your host, Michael Beroslavsky.
Hello, this podcast is brought to you by Domain Magnet, a micro private equity firm where we acquire and grow online businesses. You are welcome to go to domainmagnet.com and subscribe to our newsletter to find out about the latest deals and offerings. And today's guest is Clarke, founder of blogsforsale.co. And I'm really excited to talk to Chelsea because I've been a customer and I've looked at quite a few deals, and there were several that we were actually considering to acquire. So hi, Chelsea.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on, Michael.
Thanks for joining. So I'd love to learn more about your experience and how you got into flipping websites. Let's start at the beginning. What was the first website you built or managed or sold?
Sure. So I love talking about blog flipping. I started my first blog just as a hobby when I was in college many years ago. And I ran it just as a hobby for a long time, not even realizing that you could monetize a site. And I started to build sites from scratch. This was back, using Dreamweaver and building HTML pages and coding. And then when WordPress became a thing, that just made it so much more accessible and so much easier. So I started actually taking blogging and niche site developing more seriously about 7 years ago. And that's when I monetized. It was a small beauty blog that I had. And I sold that on its 1-year-old birthday for just over $40,000. And then I was just hooked after that. It was like, oh, this is so much fun. It's creative, it's technical, it's all the things that I enjoy doing sort of in one thing. So since then, I have been building and selling my own sites. And about 3 years ago, I went through the IBBA, the International Business Brokers Association, and I was working in a business brokerage. And all of the brokers were really focused on selling brick and mortar companies. But I knew the potential in the online space and selling online businesses with digital products, affiliate marketing, and ad revenue, and all of these things that I really knew there was a market for. So I launched my brokerage, blogsforsale.co, and I've been doing that ever since.
Very nice. So you've been full-time at this for about 3 years now? That's right?
It's been 6 years now. Yeah.
Okay.
So I went full time about 6 years ago, and just sharing my journey, sharing my blog flipping tips and marketing tips. I went to school for marketing, so digital media and marketing. So it was really like a natural progression just to work for myself and do online business marketing.
Okay, very cool. And so you've had that first flip for $40,000. And that got you hooked in, and I certainly know the feeling, the excitement. I've done probably more than 100 flips now this past 16 years, and it's always exciting first when you find a deal and you negotiate, you buy it, you see what other things to improve and how you grow it, add more value, and then reselling and trying to time it to find the right time to sell. So you mitigate the risks.
Definitely. And I love the strategy behind it when you're thinking about how you can take a site and put your own spin on something, and how you can take what the seller started and make it better and just grow it from there. I find that that's the funnest part for me. Selling it, that's always fun and exciting too. But yeah, like you say, trying to find the balance or trying to find the right time to sell, that can be a little bit tricky. But when you're actually in it and you're working on it and you're creating the great content and creating products that sell and that the audience loves, I feel like that's the funnest part.
Yeah, absolutely. So how many other flips or websites have you done after that one?
So to date, I've flipped about 30 websites of my own, and then we've sold hundreds and hundreds of sites on the Blogs for Sale platform. But yeah, about just under 20 of my own, and they're ranging from smaller niche sites to a little bit bigger. I really like to sort of, when I get a site that's earning about $1,000 a month, that's usually when I start thinking about putting the wheels in motion to sell it.
Okay, very nice. 30 sites, so that's quite a lot of experience. And what was the aspect of this whole process where you felt like you are bringing the most value when it comes to, finding deals, buying, growing, and selling? Where do you find that you are able to increase value the most?
Yes, and I actually love to look for distressed websites. So not distressed in that there's any actual like bad problem. So nothing with toxic backlinks or bad quality or anything like that, but just distressed in a way that there's opportunities there. The current seller maybe missed out on some opportunities to monetize, or they're great, they're experienced in their niche, but maybe they're not the best at monetization. So that's sort of a monetization gap that I can see that I could add value to, knowing monetization and marketing, having experience there. So I just really look for really great content sites where the content is the number one thing, that is high quality and it's informative and it's very niche specific. And then of course, I'm looking for sites that have great traffic, that's diversified. So I like to see it from Google traffic as well as Pinterest organic traffic. Other social media is great too, like Facebook groups. That can be really good if I can find a content site that has a Facebook community that's sending traffic to the business. That's like a diamond in the rough, I find, which can be really good for increasing the value over time. And really those are the main things I look for, is the great content and a good diversified traffic sources. And then everything else I feel like can just be developed a little bit easier. It's just those foundation things of getting the traffic going that really takes the longest.
Yeah, they're nice. I'd say my approach is pretty similar. Looking at sites that have solid content, solid backlink profile, avoiding anything that just really terrible content or really high risk backlinks. And the sites that are under monetized are my favorite. Just recently we acquired this website. It was monetized by Google AdSense, and we switched it to Ezoic, and the revenue just doubled right away. So those are the best. It's kind of rare these days because most webmasters, most business owners really know that there are different opportunities for monetization out there, but occasionally you find these deals. That's always very exciting. It's a quick win.
Definitely. Yeah, it is. It's definitely an exciting moment when you can find something like that just kind of works for everybody and it can make a quick deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are some other ways that you were able, what are some other quick wins you were consistently being able to find with your sites, or what are some of your favorite methods to really increase revenue and traffic?
Yeah, so some of my favorite ways to increase revenue on a site is to create its own digital product. A lot of content sites, the sellers are really just thinking about churning out tons of content, and they may not have been thinking about sort of a long-term passive revenue stream that could have been built into that content. So having a digital product like an ebook, an online course, those are really valuable assets. And if I can find a site that already has one like that, that's great, as well as templates like Canva templates. I love to look for sites like that because I can take what the seller has started with those templates or the e-course or the ebook and just build on it and rebrand it either as my own self, or I can create an alias of someone if I'm intending to sell this site down the road. So I can rebrand the course. And a really easy trick that I do for that is, instead of taking a whole course and having to reshoot all of the videos or anything like that, what I do is I just record myself for one intro video and I introduce the course, and then I say, and the following lessons will be narrated by Jess or Tom or whoever it was. So that way you can put your face on this program that you've taken over, but you don't have to recreate all of the lessons or any of the lessons. So that's something I do to add value and to increase the revenue, is creating those digital products, as well as I love to also increase the ad revenue just by doing little things with the actual content, like making the actual line height between sentences a little bit higher, making the font a little bit bigger. These things can really just help increase your RPMs and just increase your give you a little boost to your ad revenue, I've found. Another thing that I love to do too is I like to get out there onto Pinterest and use Pinterest as an organic marketing tool to drive traffic to those sites that I acquire. because Pinterest is really great, because if you can get a pin ranking in searches on Pinterest, it'll be sending traffic to you for years to come. It's not like social media where you can post something on Twitter, a couple minutes later that tweet is gone and no one will see it. Or in Facebook, it's going to go down someone's feed and they won't see it a couple days later. But on Pinterest, when you can rank in the searches there, you could be really getting that traffic for years and years to come. And Pinterest has a way of snowballing. I'm sure you've heard of viral pins, and that just means a pin that has taken off and a lot of people are resharing it. It's just really getting a lot of link juice towards your site. So that's a really great free way to drive traffic to any type of content site. And I know when you hear Pinterest, a lot of people still think it's just for craft bloggers or food bloggers or something like that. But really, any niche can be successful on Pinterest, and I'm in more of a tech business niche, and it's been a great way to generate traffic in my experience without having to spend money.
Yeah, awesome. There's quite a lot of stuff to get into here. But first of all, I'm curious about digital products. So we had some mixed experiences with that. On some sites it worked really well, and we would just keep tweaking the conversions and it kept increasing. But on other sites, it just didn't work. For example, this one business that we have about scholarships, and we created this ebook that describes for students how to get all the scholarships, and it lists everything and explains everything. And there were just no sales. Like we sold maybe 10 ebooks over the past 6 months or so.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm curious, how do you recognize where it's a good idea, where it's not, to create a digital product?
I feel like really surveying the audience that the site is coming with first, and asking them really what it is that they need, looking into your Google Analytics and seeing what people are coming to your site, where they're clicking, where they're going, looking into your Amazon Associates dashboard and seeing what people are clicking on, what people are buying, and using that sort of data to go and then create those products after. And I would also say, just like really reaching out, if it comes with an email list, sending out an email and saying, hey, like, I would love to hear your feedback. It could even be just hit reply and I would love to chat with you, or get face-to-face on Zoom, or something less personal. Just send them to a link where you can send them to a Google Forms where you could ask them a few questions just to get that feedback and understand where the audience is at related to the niche, and what you could do to create products that could really serve them and help them.
That's a good idea. So just asking the audience for email or elsewhere, simply ask them if they would be interested in a digital product, and that's a good start, I guess. Makes sense. Okay, and Pinterest. So I don't have as much experience with Pinterest, quite frankly. We did have some sites with good Pinterest traffic, but it seems different. It's different from SEO.
Yes,
my understanding is you have to keep producing viral pins to be like, you have to keep hitting viral pins to get consistent traffic. And it's sort of like you would get one viral and then it just goes down over time, right? And
well, that's a bit of a myth, actually. Yeah. So in my experience, when you have a viral pin, yes, you are right. It'll be high for some time and then it'll go down. But those pins are showing up in search results. So they're ranking on Pinterest searches. So when you're on your Pinterest dashboard, you can type in a keyword and Pinterest will show a whole bunch of pins that are related to that keyword. So you have to think, when you're pinning something, that image that you're going to pin, you're going to fill the description with the keywords that are relevant to the post, like the thing you're linking to through that image. You're going to put those keywords in the description, in the title, and then you're going to pin it to a very relevant keyworded board. So on Pinterest, we have boards where you can pin different topics or different niche specific things. So if your niche is, let's say, pets, you might have a couple different boards. Like you'll have one for dog food, one for dog toys, cat toys, whatever it is that you talk about on your blog, you'll have a different board for each category. And then when you're pinning your content, you pin it to those specific boards. And this just tells Pinterest what your content is about, so it knows how to show it to other people that they think would be interested in it. And it takes a bit of time, just like on Google, when you're waiting for your blog post to get ranked and picked up on Google searches. It's the same with Pinterest in that, but I found that Pinterest is a little bit faster. So while you're working on your Google SEO and you're really focusing on growing in the search engines, you can also be working on Pinterest and get a little bit of a jump ahead while you're waiting to start ranking in traditional Google searches. And one other thing I would want to mention about Pinterest too is don't be scared if a site is getting a bunch of traffic from Pinterest from pins that may not be related to that specific blog post. Because the fact that lots of people are clicking, it just means that it's showing up in search results. It's showing up underneath related pins for other people. So when other people are pinning things about that content and your pin shows up, that's a good look for you because it can send people to your site. And I love it too because you don't have to pay for it. Pinterest does have promoted pins. You can by all means, but it's just like a really nice organic free way to generate traffic. And it's not something that it'll just, you don't have to do anything. Once you've pinned it once, there's no upkeep. Pinterest will just start ranking it. And one last tip I want to say about that, and it's sort of like a little hack on Pinterest that I've found to really work well, is Pinterest likes to do its rankings in sessions. And what I mean by that is if you sit down and you say, okay, I want to pin 5 images for my blog. I'm trying to generate some traffic to my blog where I'm selling whatever the product is. So when you sit down and you spend 20 minutes pinning, that's considered a session. So anything that you pin during that 20 minutes should all be related to that one main thing that you want to send people to. So you can pin a few of your own pins and then go and repin other people's content that is related to your content, because in that session, it's telling Pinterest that all of these pins are related. So if you're repinning high ranking images that are getting a lot of search traffic, and in that same session, you are pinning your content that's related, Pinterest is going to start clumping those together, and you can sort of ride on the coattails of that more successful pin by another person.
Okay, very interesting. So to sum it up, Pinterest is easy and keep pinning, and also make sure that you do one type of content per session, right? And
I would recommend that.
So for someone who doesn't know a lot about Pinterest and wants to do that or wants to maybe outsource that, first of all, I guess it only works with certain types of niches, or some niches might just not be, there might not be traffic for Pinterest, right? So how do you figure that out, first of all? And then what's the best way to structure your pinning strategy?
Well, I think that's a great question and a great thing to bring up because there are so many niches out there. So I think anyone who's listening, no matter how bizarre your niche may be, just go onto Pinterest and spend some time typing in your keywords and seeing what comes up, seeing what other creators are putting out there that may relate to your content. And you'll also see a lot of promoted pins that'll come up. And if you're seeing promoted pins that don't really make sense, then maybe there's just not that much content yet on Pinterest for your niche. And I would say just start putting some content out and see what happens, because there are millions of people that use Pinterest monthly, and they're known as shoppers. If you go through and you read Pinterest blog, they share all their stats. People are just on Pinterest ready to shop. So they're clicking, they're buying things. There's lots of ways to even earn with affiliate links on Pinterest. It's all legal, and it's all good to use affiliate links on Pinterest, which is another great way to increase your conversions and increase your revenue over time as well. So I would say just get out there. Of course, everyone has a different niche, so I can't give a blanket answer to that, but I would say just go and see what other people are pinning and talking about and doing on the app related to the keywords that you want to rank for.
And what's the best way to utilize your Pinterest strategy with most effect? Would you be pinning maybe once a week, few times a week, and like 5-10 pages, images per session?
Yeah, I would recommend, even if you could just set aside 5 minutes a day to just go and pin some of your content and spend even just 10 minutes a day just doing that. I feel like that would really help to give you a boost, and just knowing that it will take some time for Pinterest to understand what your content is about and start ranking those pins. but every little bit of effort that you do is not in vain. It's definitely worth it. And yeah, I'd say just go for it. That's a good strategy.
Yeah.
And don't give up. Don't expect instant thousands and thousands of page view results right away. But I think if you just stick with it and even just give yourself that little bit, 10 minutes a day, it'll be well worth
Very
your
good.
time.
And you mentioned boards. So should you create boards before you start pinning and then pin to those boards and use all the tags as well?
Yes, you're absolutely right. So you should create your own boards and set up your account with all of the keywords that you want Pinterest to recognize your account for. Upload a photo or your logo, however you want to present your business on Pinterest, and get your handle, and just start using it and putting your keywords in your description, in your actual names. You can have your business name, and then there's a little bit of space where you can have some more characters. That's another great place to put keywords. So just whenever people are searching for your product or the type of content that you create, they'll be putting those keywords in the search and your account will come up.
Okay, very good. What are some other monetization tips and tricks that you've used successfully? Have you worked a lot with affiliate sites and found some networks that maybe pay higher or convert better in general?
Yeah, so I have worked with all different types of niche sites, more so in tech niches. So I've created sites and sort of highly competitive niches too, like web hosting and affiliate marketing, and creating online businesses. These very more popular, harder to rank for in search results. It tends to be like for Google search results and SERPs. But I have found that reaching out to affiliate partners directly and really just working out a higher commission, just between myself and the brand, so something that's a little bit higher than what's advertised, that's just always been a really great strategy for me to increase the conversions, or sorry, increase the commissions over time. You can also go, if you can sort of build up that relationship with your affiliate partners. Affiliate managers, they're hungry for publishers and content creators who really want to actually work for them, because there are so many bloggers out there who will just join an affiliate program and then they won't really do too much. Maybe they'll promote during a special promotion or something, but generally month over month, there aren't many publishers who are really focused on one or two affiliate partners to really work for them and really get those conversions up. So I feel like if you can find a brand that you really love, you use it yourself, you really do highly recommend it, and you can reach out to your affiliate manager and propose a closer relationship where you could maybe do a co-webinar. I've done that with ConvertKit and Teachable before, where we'll host a webinar together with someone on their team, and it'll be for my audience and they'll run ads for it. And, it's just like, it's a nice partnership that goes beyond just the basic, you log in, you get your link and you share it and, you do whatever. But if you can actually create a really great relationship with the people on the team of that brand, it can really go a long way. And it really just works for both sides. So that's something that I've been successful with over the years. And I've really been successful with that when creating niche sites that I intend to flip, because you're increasing, so you're getting a higher commission for the affiliate links on that site. And then when you sell it to the new owner, they get to take over that affiliate account, and you're just giving them a little bit extra. Like you're just giving them something a lot better with your site than they would be if they were to just start from scratch or buy it from someone else.
Yeah, there is certainly a lot of value in working with your affiliate manager. And we found the same that in some places we've been able to increase the commission by 2-3x. And just working with affiliate managers, they usually know everything about the niche space, and they are very willing to help. You can ask them what are the top keywords to go for, how do we increase conversion. We've had our managers or different sites tell us, like, show us literally some of the highest converting websites using the same offer, and just give us the exact framework of how to get the optimal conversions. So they definitely have they can bring a lot of value. And yeah, it is unfortunate that most people just don't communicate with affiliate managers that much. They sort of get a bad rep. And yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of sites now use Amazon affiliate, Amazon associates,
Mhm.
where you can't really you don't have affiliate managers at Amazon
Yeah.
associates, and you can't really increase commissions. You have to be making probably like $1 billion in sales to be able to talk to anyone with their scale.
Yeah.
And
That's a good way
the
to put it.
challenge is that many niches there is just no alternatives. I'm curious if you faced that as well. There are quite a few niches where you just can't find any other alternative except for Amazon affiliate.
Yeah, I mean, there are because Amazon has everything, right? But the
Yeah.
commissions, of course, are just a little bit low. It's
Yeah.
no secret that Amazon commissions are low. But that's when I would look into creating your own digital product. So if you are in a niche and you can't seem to find any affiliate partners or any products that make sense for your niche, first, though, I would be concerned if you're working in a niche where there's no products to sell. That could be cause for concern. I mean, you want to be creating a niche site where there's products to sell. There's a market who buys the products. You want to be in some sort of niche that's profitable to the point that you can make it profitable for yourself because you can see products that you could sell to people. If you're not selling things, then you're running a hobby blog. You're not in business. Businesses sell things. So think about that when you're creating your niche site or you're buying a niche site. You have to think with the end game or the end goal in mind. How am I going to sell things with this content? And maybe it is just you're just going to count on ad revenue. You're going to get lots of traffic, so you can just earn passive ad revenue. There's nothing bad about that either, but it's so nice if you can actually control your income a little bit more by earning from affiliate links or digital products where you get 100% of the sale. So that's when I would say if you really can't find anything in your niche, you cannot think of any product aside from something that would be on Amazon, then maybe it's time to either build out your niche, find something there that you can actually sell a little bit deeper, or create an actual digital product of your own. If you have an audience, if you're working on your building your email list, which everyone should be making email marketing absolute focus, I do believe that, then think about something that you can help your listeners, your readers, your subscribers with. Whatever their problem is, can you create some sort of digital product to help them get from point A to point B? That's really where I would be looking at it.
Yeah, there is certainly a lot of value in an email list. I agree with that as well. And so, how long do you usually hold sites before you sell them?
I usually sell them about a year. I'll run a couple sites at a time. And I always I love flipping. And there's nothing wrong with building up your portfolio and holding on to sites and just, earning from that passive revenue. That's great. But for me, the thrill is really in the development and the flip and moving on to my next project. That's really where I thrive. And so I like to sell even between 6 months to a year. But I also recommend to people, if you can hold it a little bit longer, and you know that you're able to put the time in to be generating more traffic and more revenue during that time, you're going to be able to sell it for more. So it's not like a race to the finish line, but I do like to sell at about the 1 year mark, because for me, I love to just focus on different things at different times. I don't want to write about the same content for years and years to come. I like to be able to just focus on it for a batch time, a couple months, and then move on to something completely different where I can explore a completely different niche or completely different monetization stream and just go all in and then go all out.
Yeah, I find it's best to just you buy a site, and my strategy is usually like you buy a site, and before I buy, I would look what is the strategy, what are some quick wins, what are some more things we can do, and then once we do all those things, let's say we plan to do some monetization improvement, we plan to add some more content, we're building some more links. And once we've completed that, we've rolled out all the content basically for the entire niche that is relevant here, more or less, where we can rank. We added enough backlinks, we've optimized the monetization.
Mm-hmm.
There is just no, and then maybe you wait a few months so you get good data for the past 3 months. But beyond that, there is just no reason to hold on to the site longer, right? Because your work here is done.
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, we are in the business of flipping. We are not in the business of holding on to things and like keeping them forever. And there are quite a
Yeah.
few people who do that and do that successfully, I must say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, certainly it's important to stick with your strategy. So if your strategy is flipping, then do what you can to improve and then flip. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And yeah, 1 year mark is pretty good. And in terms of multiples, what are you usually paying for sites? Are you looking for really good deals to pay like lower, cheaper, or do you just focus on what sites you can improve and grow, and you're okay just overpaying sometimes too?
So sometimes I will I will overpay if the content is really good and it's missing a lot of monetization. So if a site is not earning very much, I'm going to pay more than it's worth if the content is really good. Whereas if it's earning, let's say $100 to $1,000 a month, I'm going to pay between 24x and 36x. It's the standard. It seems to be the standard sort of multiple that is pretty common in selling sites, as you know. And that's really where I'm looking at spending if the site is earning. But if the site is not earning and I see value in it in other ways because the content is great, or it's getting some great traffic, or maybe it has an email list of my targeted niche people, the people that I know I have something that I could offer, then that to me is much more valuable. So I will offer well above 36x. And if the site's not earning anything, then I can make a great offer to someone. If they're not earning, they're happy with the money that I would be offering would be really good. So it really just depends on the site. It's not one size fits all for me. I've definitely overspent on sites when I just know that I can get that ROI a lot quicker. And it really comes down to the content for me.
And so how many websites do you usually work on at the same time? And do you have a team? Do you have some freelancers you work with?
So right now I it's me. So I usually work on about 2 or 3 sites myself at a time. And then I have a team that helps with my business at Blogs for Sale. So we have a team there that helps with customer service and, just being there to help and guide people. But the actual sit down creating content, working on blogging, that's all me right now because I really just enjoy it so much. And I feel if I was to add a 4th site at a time, then for me, that would be the right time to hire out and get writers and virtual assistant and things like that. But 3, I feel is a good number to do it just under my own umbrella.
Yeah, perfect. And where do you find good deals these days?
So I'm always looking at all the marketplaces, really. I'm out there every day, every morning I'm going and I'm looking at all the main marketplaces, but really the best place that I've found my best deals is I will actually just go into Facebook groups for bloggers and I'll see bloggers promoting their content. I'll go to their site. It's not for sale, but if I like it, I'll just flat out make them an offer. And that's the way that I've really landed my best deals, is to people who weren't even thinking about selling. But I saw something in the site and we just negotiated and made it happen. And that always feels good too, because people who, they haven't been up for sale for a while, or they haven't been up for sale at all, they haven't even been thinking about it. It's kind of fun because that it's fresh. A lot of times too, I've noticed with blogs that maybe have been updated in a while, you can go and you can find these content sites that have great content, but where's the blogger? There hasn't been anything published in months. That's usually an indication that someone's not at the wheel, they're not as interested, or they're being called to other projects. So that's when I would reach out and just open a conversation and say, hey, like I buy blogs, I buy sites. What's the deal with your site? Would you ever consider selling it? And getting that face-to-face over Zoom, that's usually the best way in my experience.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, that's very nice. And do you ever buy bigger sites, or mostly like in that range of under $1,000, maybe a little bit more?
So I usually buy sites in the $30,000 to $40,000 range. I also like to look for more starter sites too. So I'm all over the spectrum, really. I'll buy sites for under $5,000. I'll buy a site for $40,000. It just depends on if it's getting much more traffic, if it's earning a lot more income, it has more established products and funnels, these things that come into play. But I'm definitely open to anything really under $100,000 if it's the right site. It just depends where I'm at in the moment, really, and what I can see myself being able to do moving forward. Can I flip this site? Can I add a spin on it that could really increase the revenue? Each site is really different, I found. And I've bought sites that are really in really different niches too. Last year I bought a site that sold Genesis themes for WordPress. And the site she started up really well. She built all of these child themes for Genesis framework, and they're good, but she hadn't been updating it in a long time. And of course, WordPress is always having updates, and themes are changing, and just the online space is changing. So if you have a template, a theme site, there needs to be someone there who's updating the code and just making sure everything is up to date. And it hadn't been updated in quite some time. So when I purchased it, I really just spent time updating the codes of all of the sites. I created one new theme. I sunset a few of the themes that were kind of ugly, that I just didn't like them. So I just put them to rest, and I just focused on the highest selling themes. And then it was about 6 months later, I resold the site, and the buyer who bought that, she has just done amazing. She's just grown it from there. So it was sort of like I was just a middle person to clean it up and get it ready so that someone else could take it and run with it.
Yeah, very nice. I like how you operate the business to make sure everyone is happy, everyone profits, the buyers, the
Oh
sellers.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, the sites and the visitors. Very cool. What are some of your best flips, like most profitable or most exciting? Can you mention a couple interesting ones?
Yeah, sure. So recently I bought a website that was in the personal finance niche, and it was written by someone who was in college. She was in her 20s, and she hadn't mentioned anything about her age group in it, but you could just kind of tell that it was from a college person's perspective. So I bought the site, and it was one of those ones about $1,000. It was full of monetization gaps. She was getting tons of traffic, but she hadn't thought about monetization. She hadn't created a product. She wasn't even really using Amazon links or any affiliate links to their full potential. She just had a couple ads in her sidebar, and that was it. So definitely lots of opportunity there to grow that. And what I did was I had to think about, okay, how can I make this more of a niche site? It was really just a blanket personal finance where there was some money tips, some saving, some budgeting, but that's kind of boring. We see those a dime a dozen. Everybody has a budgeting site, but what could I do to make this one special? So I really just thought about, okay, she wrote it from a college perspective, I think, because she was in college when she created it. So if I could make this a college niche site for new students who are trying to save and earn money while they're supporting themselves through school, and really just sort of go through all of the content. And I created an avatar in my head of who this new person was that was running the blog, and just writing it from a student to a student, sharing that type of advice. So I had to think back years back when I was in school and I was supporting myself. I was paying for my tuition and rent and all of these things. So I was thinking all of the things I was worried about then. And I put that into this blog, and I just brought it up to today's, modern. I'm making myself sound really old. I'm really not. And, I just made it so that it was from the perspective of someone who is a, below millennial, Gen Z, just niche site. And when I marketed that site, I put it up for sale. It sold the next day, which was really exciting. I love when that happens. And I think if I had tried to market it and sell it just as a personal finance blog, it may have sat on the marketplace for a while, because we see these all the time. But just by making it a little bit more special, I think that really helped to make it more special, because it was. And the person who got it, now they can just take it and run with it. And it speaks for itself a little bit more. Another one that I really enjoyed flipping was a mental health site. The creator, she wrote hundreds and hundreds of blog posts. Again, though, just missed opportunities for monetization. So as soon as I took it over, I partnered with BetterHelp, which is a company that is a online counseling. So if you're ever having a problem, just need someone to talk to, or going through a crisis, you can get on the phone or email with someone, a counselor at BetterHelp. So I just partnered with them. I started including some of their products throughout the blog posts, and it just really made sense for the audience, people coming to the site. They were dealing with depression, serious problems, but it was just something that's like, no, you are not alone here. You can talk to this person. And at the same time, it was an affiliate link. So I was able to create a history for a few months, just showing those earnings. And then when it was ready, I was ready to sell it. I had that history showing, okay, look, this is when I purchased it. This is how much it's earned. And it's been growing month over month. The traffic is increasing. And that was just really easy for the buyer to be a heck yes and take it on and grow it from there as well.
Very
So
nice.
those are my favorite kind of flips.
And so for those two deals, what was the revenue when you bought it, and what was the revenue after you sold it? Like, how much were you able to increase it?
So it was earning about $300 a month when I purchased it. And when I sold it for the last 6 months, it had been earning just under $2,000 a month and growing.
Oh, very nice. Is that the second or the first one?
So that's the mental health one. The personal finance flip site, that one wasn't earning anything, maybe $10 a month with Ezoic ads when I purchased it. And then when I sold it, it was earning about $600 to $700 a month. And that was through mostly digital products, as well as increased revenue through Ezoic. It had a really good holiday season. There's lots of holiday content on that site. So I purchased it a few months ahead of the holidays, and I really just knew I could capitalize on that holiday traffic that would be coming. So it was like just good timing, I think.
Okay, very nice. So yeah, so you look for sites that are under-monetized, and that way you could bring quite a bit of value by improving maybe the structure, some of the content, and updating things, adding better monetization methods, and then resell very well. And
Exactly.
yeah, so let's talk a bit about blogs for sale. Why did you decide to start it? How did you get the idea? And also, yeah, just explain how it operates.
Definitely. So I was selling my own sites for about a year, and I was sharing my journey and my results and my tips on my blog. So my blog is herpaperroute.com, and that's a niche website investing site. So I was just sharing tips, and people kept asking me, hey, can you help me sell my blog? People were coming and saying, hey, like, I want to buy this blog. What would you think? How would you do due diligence? Can you look at it for me? And I was getting so many emails, and I have online courses where I teach this kind of stuff. And I realized I needed a place for all of my students and my audience that was growing around this business to actually just go and sell their sites, just investors and sellers, content creators to just come in and go and buy and sell sites. And everyone had such great content sites, and they had all of these ideas, and they didn't want to start sites from scratch. So it just was sort of the next natural step. I launched the Blogs for Sale marketplace in the end of 2018, beginning of 2019. And it's just really been growing from there. We sort of have a sweet spot for sites that are in the about $10,000 to $30,000 price range, but we also sell a lot of starter sites too. And we do list and sell higher sites as well. But I feel like, as I say, our sweet spot is really in that sort of micro investing market, which it's easier for people to get into. It's not such a big investment. They can sort of test it out, or they don't have to break the bank or take out a loan. They can just really get into website investing with a more affordable foot in the door. So that's really where we've been growing. And yeah, so it's an online platform. You can actually go and you can see the sites we've sold. So you can go and, even just for research purposes, just go in and see the different types of content sites that these creators have built, the different revenue streams. You can actually go and look at their profit and loss for many of them, and where their traffic is coming from. And it can just really help you give yourself an idea if you're thinking of selling your site down the road, just to be able to compare to see what similar niches to your own have sold for there. And yeah, it's really cool. It's a great platform. It's a great community. And that's really the best thing, is that over the years, I've been really focused on building my community of investors and content creators and just really bringing them all together. So that's the funnest part for me. And we're constantly adding new sites every week, and we found this summer we've been selling them very fast. So it's good. Yeah, I'm happy to be able to say that.
How many sites do you usually have for sale at any time, or like right now?
So right now we have 27 listings available, and we usually have between 10 and 25. That's pretty normal. In 2021, so this year so far, we've done just over in 7 figures, which has been great because a lot of those sites, as I say, they were smaller starter sites. So it's good. There's really something for everyone there on the site, no matter what your budget is.
Very good. And from the seller's perspective, how does it work? What is the commission or the structure to list with you?
Yes, definitely. So to list on the site, we have a link that you can actually go to and get a free valuation. And that's where you can just figure out what your site could potentially sell for. And me and my team will actually just go and look and do a little bit of research on your site and come back with a suggested price range that you might be able to list for. And then if your site is approved, and I should say too, we actually deny 80 to 90% of the applications that come through, because we really, unless it's just a turnkey starter site, if it's more established and there's, we really look for quality content sites. We don't want any PLR or any bad backlinks or anything like that. We really only want to focus on listing quality sites. So if your site is approved to list, then we start just representing your listing right away. And we reach out to our investors as well as different communities and marketplaces. We're partnered with Flippa as well. So that's what we do. And we're a little bit different than most brokerages. We actually manage every step of the sale. So not only am I talking to buyers before, you're not being bothered, I'm actually doing all of the negotiations, and then you decide what you would be happy to pay for, and you get to choose yes, no, decline. And then when we sort of loop everyone in together, we're providing legal contracts, we're making sure that you're getting paid on time, we're managing the escrow, and we're actually managing the transfer of assets as well, so that everyone is happy. We're not just throwing you up on a marketplace and saying good luck. We're really there to actually hold your hand and make sure that everything goes well. And as far as commission, we actually have sort of a range. So if you're selling over 50,000, the commission is considerably less. If you're selling under 50,000, it's between 15 and 20%. But if you're selling over, it goes down from there.
Okay, very good. So what are some interesting trends you are seeing in these sites in that range, like for sale, for purchase? Anything that's really cool that you are noticing in the past few years based on your experience?
Yeah, I'm really noticing that people are really looking for sort of sub niches. So by that, I mean, I'm finding that things like gardening, that's becoming really popular. Ever since COVID, I feel that any sort of like hobbies like camping, RVing, gardening, things like that personally I wouldn't have thought of, they're very popular. So we always know things like personal finance, pets, health and wellness, how to make money online. Those are all very sort of popular niches that I feel like will always be popular. But these sub niches of the hobbies, I feel, is really kicked up in the last year, and I don't see it going anywhere. So I feel anyone who's listening who's creating a hobbies niche site, I mean, go all in, go for it. I feel like there's definitely a market for buyers for you.
Very nice. So you mentioned you have courses, and I see on your website you also do some coaching. Is it like private coaching or in a group? How does it work?
Yeah, so we have a really fun group coaching program. We meet every weekend and we talk about blog flipping and niche site developing and how to make money with your content site and how to grow through SEO and Pinterest marketing and all of that good stuff, everything that goes into actually building a brand around the niche site, whether you intend to flip it or not. We have some bloggers there who in the group who are just there to increase their revenue and earn money with their blog to keep. And a good portion of the people who are there with the intention to flip the site that they're working on. So it's really fun. It's interactive, and it's not just me talking to a screen and then reading questions. It's actually everyone is there face to face. We go around the room and everyone's sharing what they're working on and asking questions and helping one another, which is really cool. And yeah, so that's the group coaching program that I have. And we actually do a quarterly profit planning summit just with the group as well. So that's what I'm working on right now. I have that happening in October, and that's where we spend 2 days together and we actually just figure out a profit plan for your next quarter for whatever it is that you're focusing on to earn money. How can we make it profitable from the next quarter and beyond? So we do things like an executive business review. We map out the funnels that you have set up in your blog or your business, or the different digital products that you have, to make sure that it's really walking your customers through a customer journey where they're getting helped and served and you're earning your sales. They're going through step by step so that you can actually make those long-term relationships that end up being long-term customers with your audience.
Very nice. And is it a big group?
It's not a big group. That's the nice thing. So there is 35 people in the group as of our interview right now. And it's a perfect, I feel like it's just the perfect kind of group. I wouldn't want it to be any bigger than 50, just because that way everyone has time to share and, network and things like that. Any bigger than that. And what I would do if it gets bigger than that is then I would just open up more coaching calls instead of once a week or 2 or 3 times a week.
Very cool. And what does it cost to join?
So we're actually having a promotion right now. If I'm allowed to share a link, if you go to herpaperroute.com/insiders, you can get all the details there. I don't want to say the price now because it'll probably be different if someone listens to this episode a year from now, but that's the information will all be on that page.
Okay, very cool. Well, thanks. That's quite interesting. And yeah, I've learned a lot of new things about Pinterest and monetization, and really excited to learn more about the things that you do. It's it's sort of like buying and flipping site, but more with a passion, not just focusing on profit, right?
Definitely. Yes, you're so right about that.
And what's your plan for the future? Where do you see this business going? Do you plan to just continue doing the same, or maybe like do bigger sites or more sites, or just stay where you are right now, where you enjoy things and happy with?
Well, I'm always wanting to grow. I'm always on a trajectory of what can I do to continue to grow and grow the business. And at the same time, it's all about lifestyle freedom too. As we're all growing our businesses and things are getting more busy, for me, that just means when you're scaling, I need to hire out more of my team. I have an awesome team, but it just means adding more people into the mix. And that's really where I'm focusing right now, is growing and scaling sustainably without losing the community or going overboard and scaling too fast, because the community, the people, that's the most important thing. So sustainable, slow growth, that's where I'm looking.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Chelsea. I quite enjoyed this chat. How can people learn more about you and follow you on your site and social media?
Thank you so much for having me, Michael. This has been so awesome. I'm really, really looking forward to our chat. So thank you again. Anyone, you can come and find me at vlogsforsale.co or on social media at herpaperroute. And I would love to connect with anyone who would like to connect with me.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Domain Magnet is a leader in buying and selling online businesses with a proven track record of expertise gained from over 300 deals since 2004. To learn more about how we can help you acquire or exit a profitable online business today, head over to domainmagnet.com for more details.